Hello everyone, Harry Baldock here, editor at Total Telecom. Today it's my pleasure to be joined by CSG's SVP of EMEA, James Kirby. James, thanks for joining me today.
Very welcome.
All right, I wanted to take us back to around a month ago when you were taking part in the opening keynote session at this year's virtual Total Telecom Congress. You spoke on a panel called Global Telecoms Reimagined, a new telco for the global economy. And I'd like to dig a little deeper into some of the key themes that you and the panelists touched upon during that session. So let's start with the elephant in the room, COVID-19. Some people have suggested that the pandemic has merely accelerated a pre-existing trend towards digitalisation. Do you think that's fair, or has the transformation for business over the last year been more radical, especially in the telco space?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think many of the challenges that telcos have had during COVID-19, they pre-existed the pandemic. Yes, I think they accelerated some of those challenges, but I think it also accelerated how telcos needed to respond to those challenges, and I think that's where we've seen a bit of a turbocharge with how customers have responded. Certainly, when CSG's been working with our customers, the sense of urgency that came on at the beginning of COVID-19, with lots of workers suddenly working from home. The way in which they consume services changed. They weren't in offices; they were now telecommuting from home. So there was a big shift very quickly. So yes, I think COVID-19 did accelerate the need for digital transformation. We've certainly seen that as we've been working with our customers.
That leads quite nicely to my second question, actually, which is to do with the world, like you say, being forced to digitalize to a great degree. And this obviously means a change in customer experience. So from a telco's perspective, what do they need to do to ensure the best online experiences for their customers? And why is this still really important?
Yeah, at CSG, we're all about customer experience. We live in this new world now where consumers are used to the really great online experiences of the likes of Amazon's, Netflix, Uber's, where everything is online, it's digital, it's very simple and easy. When it comes to interacting with their telecoms provider, whether that's their broadband provider or wireless, that experience is not always as good as it is in other online channels. So it really is important that communication service providers up their game and provide relevant communications with their customers to improve that customer experience. One good example, my mobile service provider is great at telling me when there's an outage in my area. But what would be more relevant to me would be to tell me that the reason the outage was there was because they just upgraded to 5G. So they're kind of missing an opportunity there where, yes, we got some customer engagement going, we got some improved customer experience, but there's some opportunities being missed in there.
I guess it's transparency that's really so important. Let's turn now to 5G, which is really disrupting the scope of a traditional telco. What measures should operators be taking to really make the most of the new technology, especially when it comes to monetization?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question and an important question, because the amount of money that's being invested in 5G is huge to provide the great capabilities that 5G has to offer. Now, the big question then is, how do operators monetize it? And I think they need to be looking at the monetization of 5G differently to how they have with 3G and 4G. Typically, 3G and 4G has all been about how many gigabytes of data can you sell and what's the price per gigabyte. So it really has been very much a data pipe. And I think many operators have lost out to some of the OTT providers, such as Spotify, Netflix, and others that have been monetizing the 4G network without actually the operator collecting much of that revenue. When it comes to 5G, we look at the virtualization, the network slicing, the kind of microservices that can be provided, but also the types of ecosystems that 5G will enable, whether that's in the transportation industry, healthcare, IoT devices with lots of sensors all being connected up. it then creates a different environment for an operator where to be able to monetize that, they've got lots of different parties involved in that monetization. And I think those operators that are going to be successful will be the ones that actually bring together an ecosystem of partners that all provide 5G services to consumers, not just the data pipe itself. And as a result, at CSG, we're working with lots of our customers where we can upgrade and enhance some of the back-end systems that are needed to be able to support that ecosystem. Because if you don't have the partner management capabilities, you're not going to be able to have an ecosystem. So I think, yes, the network is important, but the supporting systems are going to be really important to be able to provide different types of monetization to recoup the investments they're making in the core network.
One of the things that ties into 5G and indeed like the Internet of Things is the enormous increase in data that the telcos are going to be handling in the coming years. What do they need to be doing to get the maximum value from that data?
Yeah, I mean, as we said, a data pipe in itself isn't particularly valuable. It's more the types of services that are being provided over there. If we look back to the 4G world and how a lot of over-the-top providers, they're the ones that monetize that data by providing subscriptions to Netflix, Spotify, and others. And the telco just collected a small amount of revenue from the data that those services consumed. So I think where 5G lends itself to things like healthcare, which is an interesting topic with the pandemic that we've just gone through, and that real-time Medicare type services, whether it's IoT and having lots of devices that are always connected, sensors, cars, the car industry for telemetry will need that ultra low latency. And I don't see that operators will just be charging based on the number of gigabytes. It'll be providing an end-to-end package and the services that go over the top of that.
All right. Well, lastly, before we go, do you have any quick predictions for 2021 or any trends that you expect to continue into the new year?
I mean, I think clearly 5G is rolling out. We've now got devices. We've got many different devices coming onto the market that are able to use 5G. 5G networks are rolling out. So I think that will definitely be a big theme for 2021. But also I think customer experience will be really important as well. And we're seeing a lot of our customers that CSG is working with have a focus on customer experience and really uplifting that customer experience to retain customers and also provide additional services. When you have good customer experience, you can generally sell more to a consumer. We just have to look at the likes of the Amazons, the Netflix, the Uber. When something is really easy, there's a good customer experience, good levels of communications happening, you're generally going to spend more money. So I think that will be a big activity. And the fact that we've had to shift to this whole remote working, I think we can't ignore that. I think the amount of people telecommuting and working from home and therefore relying on their communication service providers a lot more will become really important. I think 2020 has been a bit of a try it and see type year, and there's been lots of, well, it's because of COVID and we're working from home. Bear with us. A lot of call centers that I've had to call for personal reasons. There's long call waits, for example. I think yes, people will accept that short term, but in 2021, consumers won't accept that anymore because we are now in the new norm. So therefore, uplifting that general customer experience is going to be a big theme for 2021.
Cool. James, it's been really interesting having you. Thanks very much.
Pleasure, Harry.